Hi, so today we're going to be talking about my top 3 tips to help you fall asleep. I've been working on this for many years. There are 2 that I've used for a long time and one that I've introduced recently that's been quite big on TikTok. And I'm just going to tell you how it all kind of fits in together for me. So before we get into that, my name is Marios. I'm a trainee counselling psychologist living in London. And on this channel, we talk about psychology and anything I think you might find interesting or useful. Remember, the internet is not a replacement for therapy. So we're going to start with my 3 techniques. So one is the brain dump. The second is progressive relaxation. And the third is the newer one, cognitive shuffle. So the reason I think these 3 work well together is because they represent different processes. One is journaling brain dump. That means things that actually matter to you are out of your mind. You allow them to exist in the journal. If they matter, they'll be there tomorrow. You don't have to worry about it. You're allowed to sleep. The second one is relaxation. Muscles holding tension is not going to allow you to relax mentally either. So relaxing the muscles progressively allows you to get your body ready for sleep. And the final one is cognitive shuffling, which switches off, let's say, or makes less active the part of your brain that makes logical associations and is trying to plan or evaluate or do things that you should be doing in the daytime and not just before you fall asleep. So it switches that off by distracting you. And this is what each of those techniques look like in specifics. So brain dump, same as journaling. If you don't already do this, and especially if you have racing thoughts before you fall asleep, make sure that everything that's going on in your head is put into a journal. So if that means having a journal next to you where if it's taking more than 15 minutes to fall asleep because you're thinking about something, write about it. Even if it's a memory or something and you don't really have anything new to add, the fact that it's coming up for you means something, and maybe it needs to go somewhere before you fall asleep. It's become the center of your attention, especially at bedtime for some reason, perhaps because you're relaxing and it's been able to come to the surface. So make sure you put it somewhere. It's not going to come to a resolution when you're just thinking about it, especially when you're just trying to fall asleep because you're not really problem solving or in a good state to do so. Put it down, write it down. Maybe you'll have the energy in the morning or the following day to actually think about that thing, why it's still coming up for you. Also, if it is problem solving, it's very much best to put it in that journal so that you can read it the next day and know that, hey, I can fall asleep now because I know it's written down somewhere. Brain, you don't have to worry about me holding on to this all night because you're worried that I'm going to forget it. You can let it go. Something that's happened to you, something that you're problem solving, maybe something that you're wishing for, looking forward to. Those things can be nice to fall asleep to, but again, if it's distracting and you're like, I can't wait for this to happen and this and this and this, why don't you just write in as much vivid detail as you can what it is and what feelings are coming up for you, and just put it in paper. There's something about putting it in paper that helps it feel embodied outside of yourself. And that can be really powerful when you're trying to fall asleep. So journaling is one, and also just quick tips about journaling in general. Don't set the standard too high, meaning you do not need to write a full page per thing you're talking about. If it's just a phrase, a sentence, one paragraph, that's fine, whatever it is. Just enough that it feels like it's come out, it's actually being expressed on that page so that your thoughts aren't saying, oh, this and this and this and this. If it's excessive, that might be a separate problem. But for most people, they're just afraid to put down the thought in any capacity. So just put it in whatever format that feels natural in that moment. So the second is progressive relaxation. And this one I learned as a technique that soldiers use to fall asleep quickly, which is pretty much a body scan where you scan your body from bottom top or top bottom and keep doing that, where you just focus on that one area at a time and just allow that area to relax. So this might just come naturally when you focus on that area, meaning I think about the bottoms of my feet and even just focusing on it causes relaxation. If I'm not able to, I can just sit and linger there a little bit longer so that I can allow that space to relax. Or you can just actively tell yourself, relax. Maybe you'll need to tense it and let it go a few times to loosen up a bit before it permanently relaxes. Either way, you just remain there until that has happened. Then up to your ankles, your shins, your calves, your knees, etc. And just keep going up. And once you've gone from the bottom to the top and you're still awake, go to any area that you feel might not feel as heavy as the other parts. When you're relaxed, your body tends to feel very heavy. If you've ever been very, very tired, it tends to feel like your whole body is sinking into the bed. So if you have any tension, it will probably feel like that part of you is awake, tense, and therefore not relaxing into the bed. So if you do feel like any parts of your body are like that, once you've done the whole scan, just focus on that area and just keep giving a relaxed attention to that area until it's able to relax. So that's technique 2. So the final one is the cognitive shuffle. This one is to stop your mind from going through logical processes of thinking about what it has done or will do, and your logical thinking thinking is not going to be very good for you falling asleep because you're trying to problem solve, and that's not conducive to sleep. So cognitive shuffling is where you focus on a word, so for example, passion, and then you start with the first letter, P, and you think of as many words that start with the letter P. So you start enumerating plant, protein, pelagon, etc. And you do that a few times until you kind of run out of words or it's starting to slow down. Then you move over to the next word for passion, which is A, association, air, application, etc. And what this does is, because there's not likely to be that much connection between these words, you're starting to get flashes of images of these different words and what they symbolize, and it's kind of moves more into a dreamy state, meaning you're not thinking in A to B to C to D, you're going A, X, Z, B to whatever it is. It's just much more fluid and it's not following a specific pattern. So that was all the techniques I use. They have worked for me. That doesn't mean that they work every time. I just think if you really want to sleep, you have good sleep hygiene is always going to be important. So you can look up what that means. Maybe I'll make another video. But going to bed at the same time, making sure you have like a wind down ritual, you're not using screens for an hour before bed, that's all good sleep hygiene. Then these techniques can take you a step further. I hope that was useful. If you would like any other tips or you have questions or comments, experiences of your own, please put them in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, look after yourself.